Have you ever stopped to wonder if, the real secrets to lasting success, to building actual wealth, do they really change that much over time?
Or are there these, core truths that just stick around, no matter the tech or the trends?
Exactly. And that's what we're diving into today. We're looking at the, well, surprisingly relevant wisdom of P.T. Barnum.
That P.T. Barnum, yeah, the showman.
Yes, that Barnum. His book, The Art of Money Getting, written way back in 1880, it's been adapted for today, and we're going to pull out the best bits.
Mm-hmm.
Our mission here is pretty clear. Show how these principles, like over 140 years old, still matter for you, whether you're running a business, creating something, or just building your career. Okay, let's unpack this.
What's fascinating here is Barnum wasn't just the circus guy, right? He was incredibly sharp about people, about how wealth actually works.
Right, more than just the elephants and acrobats.
Way more. And looking at this old wisdom through a modern lens, it's valuable. It shows fundamental truths don't really expire. This adaptation really distills his ideas into something actionable, something that kind of pushes back against our modern obsession with instant success.
That's a perfect way to put it, because you hear Barnum, you think flash, maybe some humbug.
Sure, the razzle-dazzle.
But the wisdom, as we'll see, it goes much deeper. So let's jump in. First up, what we're calling Barnum's foundational mindset. Principle 1, be ready to seize opportunity. He wasn't just talking about getting lucky, was he?
No, not at all. For Barnum, readiness wasn't about like a PhD or waiting for someone to tap you on the shoulder.
Okay.
It was more this gut feeling for what people wanted and being, well, nimble enough to jump on a trend or a need the second it appeared.
Ah, agility.
Exactly. He wasn't just learning in a classroom. He was watching, thinking ahead, and trying stuff out constantly. It's a different kind of prep, more like strategic foresight and just doing it quickly.
That makes a ton of sense, especially now things move so fast. And he had that great line, almost a warning. Money is, in some respects, like fire.
It is a very excellent servant, but a terrible master. Yeah.
So connecting that to seizing opportunity,
Mhm.
what does that really mean for us?
It means you need control, not just excitement. If your money controls you, you can't jump when that opportunity pops up. You're stuck.
Right. You need the reins.
Precisely. Which leads right into his next big idea,
Yeah.
choosing the right vocation. He really warned against just chasing what's popular or what your family expects.
Yeah, that hits home. It makes you ask yourself what actually gives you energy. He pointed out that people often fail simply because they're in the wrong job, the wrong field.
Hmm.
You could be working incredibly hard, but if it's not where your strengths lie, success just feels out of reach.
That's your zone of genius, as people call it now, getting your work lined up with what you're naturally good at and what you care about. It's everything.
Otherwise, you're just swimming upstream.
Totally.
Yeah.
Fighting your own nature, basically, no matter how much you hustle.
Which brings us to something that feels really countercultural today. In this age of go big instantly, Barnum said. Don't be afraid to begin small.
Right. He insisted that the really big, lasting results, they almost always start small. Humble beginnings, often invisible beginnings.
And it's so easy now to compare your starting point to someone else's middle, isn't it? Especially with Instagram and all that.
Oh, absolutely, the highlight reel effect. But starting small for Barnum wasn't weakness. It was strategic. It was foundational.
Okay.
He told stories about successful merchants starting as like clerks or entrepreneurs with virtually nothing. What they had wasn't seed money. It was grit, consistency, learning as they went.
Building block by block.
Yeah, sustainable growth, step by step, not about making a huge splash right away.
And then here's a curveball coming from the master showman. Be honest and earn trust. How does that square with, Barnum?
Well, yeah, he built his empire in spectacle, definitely.
Yeah.
But behind the scenes, in his actual business dealings, he was known for his integrity, despite the theatrical stuff.
Interesting.
The modern take is basically underpromise, overdeliver. Build a reputation, a personal brand that people genuinely respect and want to tell others about.
Not one they warn people against.
Exactly. Trust really is like currency.
Yeah.
And unlike actual money, it compounds like crazy over time, doesn't depreciate.
That deep respect for trust, it flows perfectly into the next piece of the mindset. Cultivate self-confidence. Barnum thought confidence attracts opportunity. But he was careful, wasn't he? Not arrogance.
Right. Big difference. It's about acting as if you're ready, even if you're maybe 90% there. It's preparation plus courage.
Taking the leap.
Yeah. And that self-belief, even if it's quiet, internal, it's magnetic. Opportunities, people, that kind of sense it when you genuinely believe in what you're doing.
Yeah.
It opens doors.
Okay, so that covers the mindset. Readiness, finding your genius zone, starting small, building trust, having confidence. Now let's shift to the doing part, the art of execution. Barnum was famously energetic. Principle 5 is adopt the habit of industry. Work hard, work smart. Not about overnight riches for him.
Definitely not. He saw real wealth built through focused, disciplined effort, but also purposeful effort.
Not just being busy.
Exactly. This connects straight to modern productivity ideas. Barnum was apparently big on scheduling, delegating effectively for us today. That might mean using tools like Kanban or time blocking, making sure you have chunks of time for deep, focused work.
Getting stuff done that matters.
Right. Optimizing your output, not just showing up. And the source makes a good point, too. There's a balance. Hustle needs recovery. But you got to watch out for laziness masked as self-care.
That's a fine line sometimes. Okay, so you're working hard, but even Barnum made mistakes, right? Publicly.
Oh, yeah.
Several times. So his next principle makes sense. Learn from mistakes, but don't dwell on them. How did he bounce back?
Well, for him, failure wasn't like the end. It was just information. Data. It tells you what not to do or maybe how to change direction. He apparently analyzed what went wrong, not to beat himself up, but to figure out exactly what to tweak.
Like iterating on a product.
Totally. Iterative design before we called it that. Shifting a show's angle based on how the crowd reacted. This whole fail-forward idea encourages smart risks. Because if you trip, you learn something, get up, and you're actually better off, sharper.
And that whole process probably gets easier if you follow his next piece of advice. Associate with the right people. Barnum really got how much your environment shapes you.
He absolutely did. He warned about negative people, dishonest people, the ones who just drain your energy or could even trash your reputation.
Energy vampires?
Pretty much. He strongly advised building a circle of people who lift you up, mentors, good partners, supportive friends. It echoes that saying, right? You're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
It's so true. Who you hang out with really matters.
Massively influences where you end up.
And it connects to staying focused on what matters, even the small stuff. Principle 11. Be detail-oriented. Barnum noticed businesses often failed, not because the big idea was bad, but because they dropped the ball on the details.
Yeah, this is where execution beats vision really plays out. Greatness isn't just the grand plan. It's built on doing the little things right, consistently.
Like what kinds of things?
Oh, replying to messages quickly, double-checking the numbers, keeping your workspace organized, actually doing what you said you'd do, even the small promises. Those are the building blocks.
The bricks and mortar you said earlier.
Exactly. They add up to create something solid.
Okay, so focus on the small stuff, but also keep an eye on the big financial picture, which takes us to something that sounds so basic. Spend less than you earn.
Seems obvious, right?
Almost too obvious. But back then, no credit cards pushing you, no Instagram making you feel poor. What did he understand about the psychology of spending that still applies today?
Well, even without Visa, Barnum saw that human tendency to want to show off, keep up appearances.
Keeping up with the Joneses, 1880s style.
Pretty much. So he pushed for strict budgeting, saving, living within your actual means, not some fantasy version. His famous line, "A penny saved is a penny earned." You could update that today. Track your spending. Be honest about what's essential. Cut the fluff. Invest in what grows. It's about discipline.
And that discipline extends to debt. Principle 10. Avoid debt unless it's productive. He saw most debt as just a trap.
And it's crucial to know the difference, right? There's debt for, say, a fancy car you can't afford. That's the trap. Then there's strategic debt.
Like for what?
Maybe investing in tools that genuinely make you more efficient, or education that boosts your earning power, or inventory you know you can sell. Debt that helps you grow, not just consume.
So discipline over display. Borrow to build, not to boast.
You got it. That's the core idea.
Okay, we've covered mindset, we've covered execution. Let's look at the final pieces, what we're calling sustaining your legacy. And this one is pure Barnum. Advertise intelligently. Master promoter, right? Practically invented viral marketing before it was a thing.
He was definitely a marketing genius. But interestingly, he strongly believed in what he termed truthful advertising.
Which sounds like
what we'd call authentic marketing now. He knew spectacle got people in the door, but quality kept them coming back and made them tell their friends.
word of mouth.
The best kind. You can't fake quality long term. His point was, market with flair, sure, but always, always back it up with real substance. Make your work so good people want to talk about it for you. Your reputation ends up being your best ad.
Makes sense. And while building that legacy, there's another principle people often forget when they're chasing money. Stay physically and mentally fit. Barnum knew health is wealth. Like, really knew it.
Yeah, he advised rest, moderation in habits, finding actual balance. For us, that means things like, actually unplugging sometimes, maybe mindfulness, exercise, definitely prioritizing sleep.
Things that often go out the window when you're hustling.
Right. But the source nails it. Burnout is not a badge of honor. Your health fuels everything else. Protecting your energy is just as key as managing your money, your time. It's investing in your number one asset, yourself.
Absolutely. And that brings us to the final principle, number 14. It's a powerful wrap-up. Cultivate generosity and gratitude. Barnum's reminder that money's a tool, not the end goal itself.
Right. True wealth, the way Barnum saw it, was much bigger than just dollars and cents. It included relationships, feeling fulfilled, making a positive difference.
The whole picture.
Exactly. Giving back, staying grounded, using your resources to do good for others, not just pile it up for yourself. It kind of completes this whole philosophy, doesn't it? Blending financial success with a well-lived life.
Here's where it gets really interesting. So let's recap the big takeaways from Barnum, still relevant today. Be ready, be agile, find work that lights you up. Start small, be patient, build trust like it's gold.
Work hard and smart. Learn from your slip-ups. Surround yourself with good people. Build real confidence.
Live within your means. Use debt super strategically, if at all. Sweat the small stuff. Market honestly. Take care of yourself, body and mind. And be generous. The message is clear. You don't need a trust fund to start. You don't need to be flawless. You need the right mindset, good habits. And yeah, the guts to stick with it, even when it goes against today's get-rich-quick vibe.
This raises an important question for you to maybe chew on. How do these principles, coming from over a century ago, from such a different world, how do they challenge our modern ideas about needing instant results and validation from others? Maybe they nudge us back towards mastering ourselves internally, integrating our financial health with just overall life satisfaction.
That is a great thought to end on. And hey, if you want to keep digging into ideas like this, continue your learning journey, click the link in the description for this deep dive. You can subscribe to Audible, get the first month free, lots of great audiobooks and podcasts there.
Definitely worth checking out.
Thanks so much for tuning in and engaging with this deep dive today.